Hello YouTube. Recently I got interested in making smaller things on my lathe. This, for example, is a small piece of Meranti. It's 8 centimeters long and it's at the moment still rectangular, 1.5 by 1 centimeter or thereabout. And I'm going to try and turn this into an eardrop. That looks like it's 11.5. And the chuck which I'm going to use for this is a so-called collet chuck. And the collets are going up in sizes of 1 millimeter. So I have a 10, an 11, a 12. But the thing with these collets is that they cannot take wood when it is oversized. So you can have 11, but 11.5 won't fit. Then you would have to use the 12 millimeter collet and twist it a lot further. So I will turn it down a bit further so that this the wood is just under 11 millimeters round, and then we can mount it. This is the collet in the clamping ring, and it goes in perfectly. So then I'm knocking out the spur drive. This is the collet chuck, and I mounted it on a homemade drawbar M10. And you definitely need a drawbar for this kind of stuff, because it fits in your Morse taper in the headstock, and the slightest pressure away from the headstock could make the Morse taper come loose, and then the whole workpiece with the chuck goes flying. Not a good thing. It's about 10 millimeters, and I think I would like to make this one about 30. I'll work on the top section first, cut it to size, and then we'll make the tapered section, because obviously the more tapered it gets here, the more the end wants to vibrate, and that is not a good thing with such small pieces, of course. And the first one is no big deal. Making the second one matching, that's the challenge. Time to have a look what we got. It's still way too thick here at the bottom, but the top is nicely round, and it's 10.2 millimeters at the moment. That's not so bad if you're shooting for 10 and you still have to do some sanding. Here's the connector with which this eardrop is going to be hanging on the earring. So I'll have to make this part here to fit in here. I think I bought them as 4 millimeter, but I'm not sure. This is a 4.4 millimeter drill bit, and if I use my calipers to measure the rear end, then it tells me, yeah, 4.4 minus a little bit. So this. I'll put it tight in between, lock it, and then this will be the size to which I have to finish that that last bit. Okay, let me sharpen this thing first. Ways to go. It almost goes. Near the neck I'm already there, so I need to have this parting tool in the right orientation. It is slightly at an angle, like this, and take off a little bit more near the bottom. I think we can call that good. So, sanding time. That looks quite nice already. But I will try to do something which I saw Gary do this very day, and that was to do a little bit of wet sanding. I'll put some grapeseed oil on there and sand a bit more with 800 grit. I'll put it on the sandpaper this time. Doesn't need much. It's really like it's forming something of a slurry, which is exactly what we want. And then I'll just try my beeswax. Which is very cold at the moment. And she fits, but what I said, I have to sand it down a bit. You see? Sand it down just a little bit. And now it fits perfectly. So that's ready to be glued in, and I'm ready to make the next one. These things are really tiny, and probably you can even make them better on a slightly smaller lathe. One pair of earrings. Thanks for watching.